Getting skilled and reliable seasonal workers has long been one of the biggest challenges facing Australia's horticultural industries. The solution may be on our very doorstep in seasonal workers from the near Pacific region, Vanuatu to be precise. And as Tim Lee reports, the scheme could not be more timely, not just for our farmers, but the cyclone-ravaged islands and its people.
As dawn breaks over the Mitchell Valley in Victoria's east, the rising mist reveals a little piece of the Pacific. These men are from Vanuatu. They start their working day with prayer and song, usually a devotional one, greeting the dawn in a chorus of joy.
I am glad I belong to Jesus. Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
If you look at the birds when they get up in the morning, usually they sing before they fly around. And it's normal to us back at home, we do that. We get up in the morning. Before Christianity come, our old people used to do that. They wake up in the morning and they sing in their caves or in their hut.
I am glad I belong to Jesus.
It's normal. People grow up in a childhood like 3 years old, they will be start singing. And that's the way people from Vanuatu look like, smiling, singing everywhere, you can tell.
More than 3,000 kilometres from their tropical home, rugged against the autumn chill, culturally and economically, this place is a world away. But these men are buttressed by their unswerving Christian faith and united as countrymen who feel blessed to have the opportunity to transform their own lives and those of their families.
And now more, Nifan come and work here to earn money back at home, to help their families, community and the church.
Australia supports Vanuatu with a considerable amount of foreign aid. This, I guess, gets direct dollars in the pockets of the people.
The Vanuatuans are the vanguard of the Pacific Seasonal Worker Program. Many in Australia's horticultural sector are hoping it heralds a new, more harmonious chapter in grower-worker relations.
The workers from the Pacific Islands take ownership and pride in what they do, and they are here for the duration. They can't go anywhere else. They don't want to go anywhere else. They want to make this work. So there is a pride of ownership of the work that is something new to growers. And it also relieves them of a lot of the heartache and the headache of getting good people, keeping good people motivated, because it's done automatically.
Finding, training and keeping reliable, skillful labour to work in the fields, orchards and packing sheds has long been one of the biggest challenges confronting the nation's horticultural industries. The work is often in remote regions, across the whole range of seasons and climatic extremes.
It's very unfriendly hours as well. It's 7 days a week as the crop dictates, rain, hail or shine. There's a whole lot of factors that go into it, and you have to be here to do the job. When the crop's ready, it's got to come off. So, yeah, it is very intensive, and the crop is what demands the labour.
Nowhere is that more in evidence than at Kui Rup, an hour's drive east of Melbourne.
And Joe, at the moment, you're in full swing with broccolini.
Yes, broccolini is our bread and butter line that we grow for 12 months of the year. It's grown under licence to Perfection Fresh Australia. This product's just been hydro-cooled. It's come out of the paddock, been hydro-cooled to 2 degrees, and it'll now make its way into the packing shed for bunching and dispatch by tonight.
VIZZARRI Farms annually produces about 1,500 tonnes of broccolini and about 4,000 tonnes of asparagus, a crop that has just finished for this season. The business has about 800 hectares under continual cultivation, and between the paddock and packing shed, it often needs a workforce of about 300.
Look, I really do believe we've got probably the 2 most labour-intensive products in Australia, asparagus and broccolini. Both our lines, if they're not picked on the day that they're ready, they go to waste. So it is really imperative it's got to be done on the day, hence less reliable labour doesn't work well for us. We need people that are here every day and sometimes twice a day to pick asparagus, etc.
These workers are mostly Cambodian, many of them arrivals to Australia in recent years. Despite being close to a large population centre, VIZZARRI Farms has tried unsuccessfully for years to recruit and retain local Australian-born labour. Australia's seasonal rural workforce has long been blighted by cases of illegal, unscrupulous employers and exploited foreign workers. Invariably, they are underpaid and often they're housed in terrible conditions. It's that dark side of the industry that is attracting growers to the Pacific Seasonal Worker Program.
I know the workers here are getting the right amount of money. When I was paying a third-party contractor, I wasn't sure, and you would hear the whispers, and we didn't sleep well at night knowing that perhaps somebody was being ripped off, because we're not about that sort of thing. We want everyone to get a fair go here.
The Connect Group is part of federal government measures to clean up the sector and ensure fair and equitable work for seasonal foreign workers. Connect employs people all over Australia. It finds them work and attends to a raft of legal requirements such as visas. In recent times, VIZZARRI Farms tried to engineer mechanical harvesters.
We did in the past spend a lot of money on harvesters, trying to build harvesters for asparagus, etc., which hasn't been successful.
Despite enormous advances in horticulture and mechanical harvesting in recent years, some crops such as cos lettuce still require skilled manual labour to harvest them, and the Vanuatuans have proved highly adept at this sort of work. The Pacific Seasonal Worker Program has another vital aspect, its humanitarian role. Australia's last federal budget cut overseas foreign aid to developing countries such as Vanuatu by about $11 billion. On March 13, that country and neighbouring islands were struck by a Category 5 cyclone. Cyclone Pam is the worst in living memory.
They're subsistence farmers. A lot of their crops have been devastated, so getting food is a huge issue for them at the moment.
The United Nations estimates 100,000 people are still without safe drinking water. With about 90% of crops totally destroyed, the World Food Programme estimates there are 60,000 people without sufficient food. For these men, away from home for almost 6 months, it has been a harrowing few weeks.
I was homesick and also the others too, but I was trying to overcome the challenge because I was one of the leader, and I don't wanna look down on myself as a leader, and I just don't want to give up. So I just talk to the boys and try to encourage them. But I was really homesick too because half of the boys want to say that they want to go home, but because we named this group as a power of one, so we decided to stay together, stick together, pray together, and we believe that we're going to overcome this challenge because we really need the money to send for the families to survive.
It's been quite emotional for a lot of the guys. Initially 5 of the 15 had not heard from their families for a couple of weeks after the cyclone.
It was a very tough period for us, and because we came here to work, and our local says we the power of one. Even though what happens back at home, we stick together as one. But our families, some of them lost their houses.
Initially, hundreds were feared dead. Incredibly, there were only 11 deaths. And amongst the destruction came a wonderful story of new life.
Had one guy on the Saturday morning of the cyclone, his wife went into labour.
We get a youth from the whole village to clear the roadblocks right to the hospital. That was about 7 in the morning. They kept on clearing the roads until 10 to 11.
Driving in front of the car on the way to hospital, cutting away trees, and they had to cut trees away from the hospital doorway to get in there. And
happily, soon the couple had a healthy son.
I'm really excited to meet my baby, yeah.
Can I get you guys all crowded in and you hold her? Come on, move in, cuddle up. She's close and warm and nice. Big smile for Nursey.
The Connect Group organised several relief efforts. One of them was a benefit concert in Bairnsdale, and the East Gippsland community rallied generously. The Vanuatuans themselves took centre stage.
We're doing a concert today, so people are looking forward to come and donate. So I'm proud of that, and I want to say thank you to God and those who push their hands on the pocket. And I know that God will reward them on what they're giving all for the last few weeks.
Emergency aid is being sent from other districts.
We're in the process of getting a container of clothes together from the local op shops, etc. But, you know, shops that these guys frequent when they're here, furniture, etc. We're looking to send a container of goods over for them to help them out in this time of need.
VIZZARRI farms began to employ Vanuatuans, or Nivans as they're also called, in 2011.
For me, it was a bit of a shock to see how they actually work in Vanuatu, to actually adapt to working on piece rates on asparagus. But once they get the taste that they can actually earn some serious money, yes, they do put in. The thing I like about them most, they're always happy. They're always happy. They're just so happy to be over here and have a chance to have a job, actually, earn some serious money, which they wouldn't do over there.
Conversely, some aspects of Western culture have been a bit of a shock for the Nivans.
Back in Vanuatu, we just sit on the coconut tree. You can sleep the whole morning, wake up, climb a coconut tree, or everything's there. And we don't really follow time. But here, time is money. Something which you have to teach our people before they come here for work.
Across Australia, backpackers still comprise a large proportion of the seasonal workforce, especially in horticulture.
Backpackers are also a fantastic source of labour for the horticulture sector. However, they tend to be young and wanting to see the rest of Australia, so they get their $500,000 in their pocket and then they move on. These workers under the Pacific scheme are here for the season, so we can train them, know that they're available when we need to go.
That's very important to us, to have a balance, but underpinning that, the Pacific Workers program is fantastic for us.
Seasonal workers such as these agree to fixed terms.
Minimum of 14 weeks, maximum of just over 6.5 months, but they come back year in, year out. That's one of the key advantages. We have a number of growers who've now into their 4th and 5th season.
We give all the glory to Jesus.
At Launching Place, in the ranges east of Melbourne, sweet harmonies float across the apple orchard of David and Sue Finger.
And tell of his love.
Yeah, they're marvellous singers, and they're also great yee-hawers and whoopers, and every so often you'll hear a commotion up the orchard down here and wonder what the hell's going on. But it's a good sign, they're happy.
It's unbelievable. They can be singing when it's raining and we're sort of tearing our hair out with a bit of stress thinking, can we do it?
When the fruit should be coming off, we have to walk. So at the time we sing all the chorus, beautiful melody of choruses. You hear that, and yeah, that's wonderful.
We pick around about 1,000 bins just in the month of April, and we're only tiny growers in the scheme of things.
After a series of checks and some official paperwork, David and Sue Finger became approved employers under the Pacific scheme.
What drove us initially to take up the program was the fear when the government began to clamp down on illegals, and deep down we knew that quite a few of the people the contractors were bringing were illegals, and we also knew that a number of them were being exploited, and that didn't rest easily with us. Knowing that we're doing everything above board, that the government's totally approving of this scheme, gives us a great sense of relief. The spin-off was that we're actually helping the Vanuatuan community.
Sue Finger was recently appointed by the Federal Agriculture Minister as a board member for Horticulture Innovation Australia. She plans to lobby for more Pacific workers to come here under the seasonal worker scheme.
Next year there's a slight increase in the number of visas, but it's only going to be about 4,200 visas for the whole of Australia, for all horticulture and also some of the tourist areas over in WA. We'd like it to increase so that other farmers who are having trouble getting labour can access the type of labour that we have, knowing that everyone's being paid above board, and the bonus is that we're providing some money in the form of foreign aid to countries that desperately need it.
A week after these men arrived, Cyclone Pam hit their homeland.
Maybe somewhere about 3 weeks before we get communicate with our families.
The Saturday, just after the cyclone hit, there was a lot of tears, basically a lot of glum people sitting around, and at 5 o'clock that night we got a telephone call in from one of the guys' mums, and that was happy days.
Some of the area, they still need water and they still need food and shelter.
So we sent some money to some of our boys. They went home this morning to just go and give it to our rival families so they could buy some foods and waters and school fees and just to help them.
Schooling is not free in Vanuatu, so the access to education to lift the nation of Vanuatu is really important.
For me, myself, I come here to work especially for my kids, for their school fee.
For the workers, the scheme provides a range of life skills, including literacy, education, financial knowledge and nutritional education.
Because diabetes is a real issue in a lot of the islander communities.
VIZZARRI can now accommodate 150 workers.
For us, it is very involved because of the amount of people. We run a kitchen to supply them 2 meals a day. We run a bus service for them, cleaning service, housing, etc., etc. It is pretty involved. It's almost like another business, but it works for me. I've always got people on standby, ready to go to work when it's required according to the weather.
This season, the program has spread to East Gippsland. The 15 workers in this trial will soon go home, replaced by a fresh crew. They'll continue to harvest the varieties of lettuce and other exotic greens that dot the fields in orderly, colourful lines.
I think the benefits of having the Vanuatu workers here have been the reliability, the feeling that we're doing something for their community, the consistency in the quality that they're harvesting.
An assured labour force means Riviera Farms can resume growing crops that in the past it had to abandon for lack of labour.
Predominantly we do salad crops, which there's a lot of hand labour in hand harvesting. The lettuce were also crops that maybe we went out of 10 years ago because we found it hard to get the hand labour. Asparagus being one of those crops, we've just sown asparagus, which we hope to start harvesting this year. That was a crop that we we gave it up because we found it hard to get consistent labour.
Riviera Farms has invested in good quality housing and amenities, so it too can have a year-round supply of workers.
They're all very keen to come back again next summer, which is it's good to hear. It's good to know that they appreciate what we've done for them, and there's been a lot of community support to get behind them. I think the community's really seen the benefit of it.
They've jokingly dubbed their compound the Vanuatu Embassy.
What's the best part about being here in Australia?
Good money, meeting new people and working with different people.
To make money, to help the families back at home, to survive.
ANSEN OBED, also a team leader, now in his 3rd season in Australia, sings the praises of the labour contracting firm.
They are trustworthy people, and I trust them. Everything they do, they explain everything. And as soon as when you started in the first place, it's not easy, but when the second season comes, everybody run into system, things just flow. So there's no problem at all. And I haven't seen anything bad about them. They're really trustworthy people.
When we arrived here in our first year, the Connect Group told us, you do a good job, the farmer will like you, then he get you direct, so we're happy.
The employers sing the praises of the Nevans.
Now, when there's an excess of 100 young single men, I would expect all sorts of issues, but they are really well behaved and very respectful of our laws and traditions, etc.
They're just out there consistently working and happily doing it, and it just lifts your spirits.
In the wake of the cyclone in Vanuatu, recruitment firms are being swamped with inquiries from men wanting to take part in the scheme.
Basically, the people are very keen to come over here and earn some money so they can send it back to the families and so they can buy food and all the requirements that they need to fix their infrastructure and what have you.
So it couldn't be more timely than at the moment.
It's a perfect time. I suppose out of every negative there's a positive, and hopefully if local growers support Vanuatu by employing people here, there'll be great benefits that flow on back to Vanuatu and to Australia as well.
There's no surprises, you know, when the gear gets back to the packing shed, and it's just been a pleasure to have the Vanuatu boys with us.
It's good for us here in Australia, and it's good for you in Vanuatu?
Yes, everyone is good for us. Like we join our hands together, it's good for everyone.
Kevin Willie Bong from the Vanuatu island of Ambrin is about to complete his third stint in Australia.
I guess I've been away from them for a couple of times already, and they used to living without me. So, yeah, but at least we can Skype and we can talk to each other, which is good. What are you doing? I've been working hard, and I'm working for my kids' education. I've never been in the university to finish my studies, but I'm trying my best for them to have the chance.
30, 40, 50, 60, 70.
I'm really glad that the media, you guys are coming over to interview and take the message across. It's a good thing because it helps promote us as workers. Good night. God bless. It's good that we have you guys coming over to our embassy. Thank you too much.